This is 143 JKRD. My name's John. But Rick and I have sort of brainstormed a few different videos, and he called me up. He was like, hey man, hadn't talked to you this weekend. We normally like hang out on the weekends. Anyway, I was like, yeah dude, I haven't shot anything this weekend, or I did shoot something, but it sucked. How about I come over and we just throw a quick rigger's eye into the end of a piece of wire rope and videotape it, which is my intention. And it's kind of, he just texted me, headed over there right now. And sorry, I'm taking my eyes off the road to look at the camera and back and forth, so I look a little more flighty than normal. So anyway, that's where I'm headed. We're jamming over to Rick's house. I already had some camera stuff in here, hoping we can put together a good video. The project, again, is a rigger's eye, so a lot of folks are switching over to the synthetic rope. Me being cheap, that isn't me. And I do think that synthetic rope has its definite advantages. The big advantage for wire rope for me is I'm kind of negligent in things. Like my winch rides around on the front of this truck all the time, and all my other winches do too, you know, are like exposed to the weather. And wire rope's pretty durable, and I have it already. I'm not gonna invest several $100s in new winch line at this point to have synthetic. I don't use winch line very hard typically. I'm pretty conservative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to put a rigger's eye in a piece of steel winch line in case you break a winch line. You have some old 5/8 cable. What I've done is I've made up a few different random sizes. So I have like 60 or 80 feet of basically winch extension that I've used that is the same diameter as my winch line. So if I want to make a long pull, you know, most winches have, give or take, 100 feet of winch line. Let's say I need to pull 120, 140 feet out. I have the winch line to do that. I haven't done any winching videos because I think it gives people the wrong impression, and I'm not an expert at it, like many things in my life. I have used a winch probably as much as the next guy, but I don't have any special experience. I had some training through search and rescue. I can tell you one of the big things I don't like that I've seen with the synthetic line is it always seems to break. I've been present multiple times where I've been using my winch and they were using, you know, the folks I was with had some synthetic lines. Seems to fail. And again, this is pretty subjective on my part. Nothing scientific, and by no means am I an expert. Just been my experience. I'm really intrigued because I've thought about this for a long time, but there's several other dudes that are now building winch lines that have no hook. They just have a loop at the end, which is always kind of, it was something I thought about. Again, I don't have any of the soft shackles. That's another thing. When I do winch, I tend to overdo it on attachment points. I don't static load anything, so I don't have a huge risk of busting stuff. If you've ever seen any of the videos of guys breaking logging chains or a variety of lines, it usually involves some kind of static load. I'm using a 9,000 pound winch. Given the load rating on the lines that I'm using, it's unlikely to fail dynamically, meaning snap. You know, you're gonna see it stretch or see it break strands or fray, that sort of thing. And so that's kind of my take on that. But again, my take is usually silly. So certainly do not make any dangerous, life-changing decisions based on any advice I'm likely to give you. I certainly wouldn't. I know what I do. I'm careful, but when you're dealing with big, heavy objects and lining up stuff, oh my gosh, he's got this thing like wide open. What is a common strand count for these main strands?
Usually it's always an odd number, so 5 or 7 is typical, depending on how big the cable is. Bigger is more.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do is maintain the integrity of the two twists that we're making here. I can't tell which camera I'm in best, but anyway, what we're trying to do is maintain the integrity of these two twists if memory serves right. And it looks like we've got 4 strands in one and three in the other. So 7. And we're just going to make a simple loop. And so what will happen is as you kind of weave this back on itself, it should lay in. I'm just going to make a small loop. Go a little further. I'm trying not to get a huge tail on it either. So what we're doing here is just laying it back on itself, and then it will act as its own kind of Kellum grip-ish. I don't even know what you call that. Boy, this isn't laying in very good. There we go. Just had to tighten her up a little bit. Whoa. When I was doing this with 1/4-inch cable, that part of it went pretty smooth.
Yeah.
What are we using here?
1/2 inch.
Yeah. This is man's cable here.
It's lots of fun with 3/4 or 1.
Yeah.
Things like that.
And as you can tell, I am not a rigger. And I'm fraying the end of this. But I think you will get the idea that you can take and repair your winch line or make a choker or any number of things and kind of use this at your own risk. This is probably not the rigger appropriate twist rate. Is there a spec for how many twists I should be getting on this?
Probably. Usually, what I've seen the pros do, this is a pretty good homeowner's version, is usually you'll break this open and weave all your strands back in farther upstream.
But this is what I've used over the last couple of years, and it works just fine.
For everything that we're going to come across, but if we're like putting a ski lift together or something like that, the Forest Service would have bad words to say to us.
Right. So this is what we're talking about. As you can see, it laid in real pretty. This is super heavy cable. And for your average off-road enthusiast, homesteader, logger type dude, which is kind of what we've used it for, really.
Yeah.
Mine's spent more time as a choker. I think I've pulled a couple people with it. Again, I wouldn't check, I wouldn't rate this.
No.
And so I'm not advising that if it's a life-critical type incident, this probably wouldn't be my first go. But if you're stuck in the middle of the woods and you have a broken winch line, this would be a pretty good...
It's better than no line at all.
Yeah.
By a long shot.
Yeah.